Hi everyone, and welcome to the second floor of the Contemporary Resort here at Walt Disney World. We are here on the second floor to check in for our brunch at the top at the California Grill. It's a special occasion. It's my birthday today, and got my button on. I'm ready to brunch at the top here at the Contemporary. Now we're gonna do this vlog format similar to how we did Cape May Cafe, if you watched that vlog. Lots of pictures and more descriptive content after the fact as opposed to during, because we just really want to enjoy this experience. It's a special dinner, as well as not disturbing any of the other guests who are also there to enjoy this special experience. We did check in very early for our 12:55 reservation, like an hour and 20 minutes early, just to see if we could check in early. She did ask us to come back 20 minutes before our reservation time to check in, so we'll be back at about 12:30 to get this brunch going. So after you check in with the hostess outside of the California Grill, you are escorted up to the 15th floor of the Contemporary Resort, where the California Grill is located. And when you get out of that elevator, you're just greeted by this wall of wine bottles. Now, I'm not a huge wine connoisseur by any means, but I did want to kind of show you an up-close look at some of the wine bottles and wine offerings that are at the California Grill. Now, although I'm not a wine connoisseur, I do love me a good mimosa, and California Grill's brunch is just full of them. In fact, they are unlimited and included with the price of your meal. So what will happen is a hostess will greet you at the front. He or she will check your ID to make sure you are old enough to enjoy said mimosas. And then he or she will give you your first mimosa and walk you to your table. I did find that after the first initial mimosa, they gave you a glass of champagne and then just regular glasses of champagne. I'm not really sure how that whole thing worked. I just kept grabbing them from this bar area that you're seeing here, and no one seemed to mind. So it's either you can get unlimited champagne, they'll just keep bringing you glasses or refilling your glass, or walk up to this bar area and take all the mimosas you want. So we made it to our table. You can see the first mimosa there, and our lovely hostess sprinkled the table with Mickey head confetti. So that was a nice birthday treat that the cast member at California Grill did for us. Right now we're looking at the menu, and you can see at the top there the self-serve selections. So basically how California Grill brunch works is you have kind of a buffet set up before you order your main entree, and it's just all you can eat. There's pastries. You can see there's a great selection of sushi, which they are famous for here at California Grill. This setup, this kind of buffet section of the brunch just totally stole the show for me. And you'll see a couple of the pictures later on in the video. But I absolutely stuffed myself with all of the delicious food on this buffet section of the California Grill brunch. It was all delicious. Continuing down to the entree selections available at this brunch at California Grill, I would be lying if I said I had a really hard time choosing which entree to get. And I think you can get multiple entrees. We both opted to just get one because, as I mentioned earlier, we did eat a lot of the self-serve selections here. But just so many great offerings here. I'm not even a fan of pancakes really, but the blueberry and the heirloom apple pancakes actually sounded delicious to me, as well as the shrimp and grits. And we did also hear that pineapple coconut stuffed French toast is a very popular item. Also important to note that there are other adult beverages for additional charges that you can opt to try. With being on the 15th floor of the Contemporary Resort, one of the main draws of eating at California Grill is, of course, the breathtaking view you're going to get of the Seven Seas Lagoon, Grand Floridian, Polynesian, the Magic Kingdom. You cannot beat this view. It adds to the experience. It's gorgeous up there. It was even a little cloudy during our brunch, but it was still just so breathtaking. As you can see, our table was not right by the window. That did not detract from the view or the experience, so don't get upset if you're not right next to that window. You're still going to have a spectacular view. With this being my first visit to California Grill, I don't know if they always have live music or if that's just a brunch thing, but there was some live music playing during the brunch. And here's kind of just a better look at our surrounding area around our table, and you'll be able to hear that beautiful live music in the background. Listening to some nice music. We've had some mimosas. Let's look at this food. And I'm going to say right now, those guava turnovers that you just saw absolutely stole the pastry show for me here. All the pastries here were pretty good, especially there is a cheddar biscuit that you're going to see here in a second. That was very, very good. But the guava turnover, man, you're going to see an up-close picture of that in just a second. Stole the show for me here on this pastry table. Since we were talking about those guava turnovers, here's kind of a cross section of one. You can see that delightful guava filling in the middle of that flaky croissant. Oh my gosh. One of my favorite things at the California Grill brunch. I actually wanted to get another one after I was done with my entree, but they had started putting them all away, so I only got this one. If you have something that you like, go up and get more of them before they start kind of clearing the buffet off. Moving on to the charcuterie section of the California Grill buffet area. As you can see, lots of meats, cheeses. I will say that the blue cheese totally stole the show for me. So creamy. Such a strong blue cheese flavor. I loved it. But you can see that there are not only a great selection of meats and cheeses, but also various different kinds of marmalades, mustards, peppers, as well as like crackers. Great charcuterie selection here. The pickles were amazing too. And here is my charcuterie plate. Now it is like the smallest thing on my plate, but the blue cheese stole the show for me here. I wasn't too crazy about anything else on this plate except the pickles. They were like those fresh, jar ripened pickles. So it's time to walk down the rest of the buffet at the California Grill brunch. These deviled eggs with that spicy mayo on top were so delicious. I kind of think deviled eggs can be a little bland sometimes, but with that tiny bit of spice, it was the perfect amount of spice. I loved the deviled eggs. Now we're onto the sushi. I think I was most excited to have these California rolls with the real lump crab meat. And I'm actually going to say that it was not my favorite roll here at the California Grill brunch. When I show you my plates, I'll let you know what my favorite one is. Spoiler alert, you could be looking at it right now. But yeah, so much great sushi. Way more sushi than I expected to eat here, including some of those shrimp rolls right there. I don't think I ate anything past. I was going to try some of that smoked salmon, but it was pretty picked over by the time I got there because, again, we did have a later reservation. But didn't try any of this yogurt. Here's my first plate. As you can see, a lot of sushi. And what I was surprised with is the tuna. I loved the raw tuna sushi, and I'm not really usually a fan of tuna. And again, those deviled eggs were delicious. And I believe that was a sun-dried tomato quiche. not that big of a fan of sun-dried tomatoes, but the crust on this quiche was just so flaky, so perfect. In plate number 2, here we are, lots of pastries with some sushi and more of those deviled eggs that I love so much. And even though I said earlier that my favorite roll was the shrimp tempura, I think it was still actually that California roll that I was so excited to try with that lump crab meat. Because I count 3 of those as opposed to 2 of the shrimp tempura. So I'm going to go with that California roll. I guess I was just a little underwhelmed by how the crab tasted in it. I'm not really sure what I was expecting, but apparently I still liked it. And I guess what ended up happening with these pastries is that our entree came when I was still eating, my second plate. I guess it was actually my third plate from the buffet. So I didn't actually try that guava turnover until after I was done with my entree. But even though that may sound like the timing of the meal was rushed or whatever, I do want to say that the timing of this meal was excellent. Our waiter was excellent. The service was superb. Always keeping, those mimosas full. And I think he was kind of looking to see how much we were eating from that buffet, which was a lot. So he timed our meal according to that, which was very much appreciated. Did not feel rushed at all at this brunch. So my entree, I chose the lobster omelet, which is a 3-egg omelet. And I chose the lobster one, so that came with champagne cream, chives, and tobacco. And that side item right there is the sage fingerling potatoes. I think it was my least favorite thing about the California Grill brunch experience, which doesn't sound good, that my least favorite thing is the main entree. But I think that everything else, the mimosas, the buffet section, and you'll see in a second, the desserts, everything else, the view, the service, everything else, the music, everything else was so good that even though I wasn't crazy about this omelet, I would still go back to California Grill brunch. Definitely. 100% yes. I would just choose a different entree. I just found that the potatoes were not really flavorful. They didn't really seem to have any seasoning of any sort on them. And they kind of seemed like they had been sitting there a while. As you do get into the middle of the omelet, there is, a lot of lobster in there. There was a good amount of lobster in there. But just overall, it was just kind of, bland. I didn't think the lobster saved this omelet for me. Then as a sweet treat to end your meal was this dessert plate, which I didn't know that this was coming. I didn't know this was included with the brunch. If we're working left to right in this picture, on the left are those macarons. Tan one is a hazelnut one, and that was my favorite thing on this plate. I could have just had a whole plate of those, honestly. They were so, so good. It basically tasted like a Nutella hazelnut type spread in between those macarons. Forgive me because I am making this video a good 2 months after we've eaten here, so I can't fully remember what that thing is next to the macarons, but I believe it was some sort of bark, like a chocolate bark. Apparently not very memorable because I don't fully remember what it is. Next to that are kind of like mini cinnamon bun bite things, which were pretty good. Not necessarily something I'd crave after dinner. Next to the cinnamon bun things I think those were just chocolates, like pretty looking chocolates. So again, nothing that special. And at the very right side of your screen were little like jelly treats. I think those were my second favorite thing on the plate, if I'm remembering correctly. But again, definitely remember that hazelnut macaron. Well, thank you so much for joining me and helping me revisit my California Grill brunch experience. I hope it gave you a better idea of what it's like to brunch at the top at the California Grill. I'm going to leave you with some footage from the top of the observation deck at the California Grill, just outside. So enjoy this footage. Thank you so much for watching, and Make sure to follow us for more on Florida.